Hello, welcome to Coffee Break. It's Steve Barrett, the editorial director of PR Week, and I'm delighted to be here with Aaron Radelet, who's SVP and global CCO of Walgreens Boots Alliance, based up in Chicago area. Aaron, how are you doing? And looks like you're back in the office.
That's right. That's exactly right. Greetings from Deerfield, Illinois, Steve.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my first mistake.
No, it's actually in the Chicago area, just north of Chicago. Yeah.
Okay. And tell us about being back in the office. Is this a phased thing? Have you been? Yeah, I think you've been working in the office quite a bit during the lockdown. Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So for some of us, just a handful of us, we've been coming in still every day. And I have to say the team has done a great job to make sure that everything is cleaned every day and that we feel very safe coming into the office. We, of course, have a lot of experience because we have many stores across the country and around the world where we have to make sure that those environments are safe too. So we're gradually bringing some people back in. But for me, I've been one of only a few people on one floor, so I've never felt like it's unsafe. And in fact, the only issue for me is the motion sensor lights keep turning off on my section of the floor because there's nobody here.
Yeah, that. I've always noticed that when I stay and work late, and you have to sort of stand up and wave your arms around, and people looking through the windows on the other side of 7th Avenue are always like, "What's that lunatic doing in the Haymarket building?" But hey, if that's all our problems, then they're first world problems, aren't they? Clearly, Walgreens, with your network of pharmacies and essential workers, you've been. A lot of your workforce has been going full steam ahead and really helping out on the front lines. Talk a little bit about that, what they've been doing, how they've been stepping up to help people, and how the comms team has kind of been involved in telling those stories.
Yeah, it's interesting. When we put together our 2020 plan for communications, we had several aspects where we wanted to make sure to acknowledge the work of our employees even more, especially the essential service that we provide to the community. Little did we know that just a few short months later, how much we would be asked to amplify that. And so we were able to readjust the plan and apply it to the current situation. But I have to say, our employees make it easy for us because they really went above and beyond to make sure that the stores were still open, that pharmaceuticals were still being delivered, because we didn't have the luxury to be able to shut down. We had to make sure that we were still keeping our patients and customers safe and healthy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've had a new appreciation, haven't we, of people doing jobs like that, health workers, garbage truck workers, people in retail, delivery drivers, and they've become our new heroes. And I think that's a good thing if we can, just remember that when this all ends, what a terrific job all of those folks do. Any particular anecdotes that sort of illustrate that in action and really sort of tell that story?
Well, it's interesting. One thing that we certainly wanted to do more this year is be able to tell stories across social media and through different channels, and to put together vignettes every week to make sure to highlight the work of employees and to incorporate that more into each one of our internal meetings. So we have definitely been able to do that. And we've taken these stories of how literally pharmacists have had to drop off at the homes of some people, life-saving medication, that they're still coming in every day. And it's deeply inspirational. And frankly, for somebody like myself who's not at the store every day, it allows me to get out of bed in the morning even more because I truly see how much we're really genuinely helping people. There's a lot of talk right now about purpose. And I think that there's two different ways you can do that. They're either words on a page. Our purpose happens to be that we help to make lives healthier and happier. We want to make sure that we embody that in action and that we're not only talking the talk, but walking the walk too.
Yeah, and obviously you're in a retail environment. Have you had any, and we've all seen the videos on YouTube of certain people going in stores, not wearing masks and, going viral. Have you had any incidents like that? And have you had to put any guidelines in place for people on how to deal with, because of very tricky situations?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we work very closely with each one of the stores to make sure that they feel like everything is set up the way they need it to be. You might have seen recently we put out another announcement reiterating that customers visiting our stores should be wearing masks. We've got a lot set up in terms of protective equipment at the stores with shields and spacing and making sure we're sanitizing everything. That's especially important in a pharmacy environment. So we've had very little of that. And I think part of that is because it is a pharmacy environment compared to maybe some other retail environments.
Yeah, for sure. Have you got any indication, look, when the vaccine does eventually arrive, and please, God, let it happen soon,
Yeah.
have you got any indication on what the role of pharmacies like yourselves will be in, giving out vaccines, just like you do with flu shots and things like that? Presumably, there's been a certain amount of planning in that respect, and there's going to be such a demand for it as well, isn't there? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're already working with a lot of our partners to prepare for that day. And as you say, hopefully it comes sooner rather than later. We have deep experience in this area. So we've already set up ways that we would be able to distribute a vaccine. We're already doing a lot of testing as it is right now. We're going to build that out even more, not only to test for coronavirus, but also for the antibody. So as soon as that point comes, we definitely have the plans laid and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, you're going to have a few people coming in, I suspect.
Yeah.
Walgreens, of course, is a global business. I know it from my home country in the UK as Boots. It's Walgreens Boots Alliance now, and a much beloved brand over there. What have you learned through that global outlook on life, and maybe how it's affecting different parts of the world, and maybe early warnings in some areas, and also things you can put in place for other areas that have faced the impact of the virus a bit later?
Yeah, it's a great point. So we actually had the advantage. We operate in 25 different countries. A lot of people don't realize that. We're a Fortune 19 company. So we have an incredible scale. And we have a large operation in China, which is, of course, is where the virus originated. So we were able to learn early from our colleagues over there as the virus started rolling more and more around the globe and take some of those lessons. And I think that was enormous advantage. And then just in general, what we try to do within communications is to share best practices as much as possible. I'll give you one example just today, where we're putting together our internal annual meeting for our store managers. And so the Boots team is talking to the Walgreens team and vice versa to make sure that we get that right in this whole new world and to try to figure out the best way to be able to pull off those meetings in September. So what I want to always emphasize with the team is, how do you make sure to truly realize the entire benefits of a large company that's completely integrated in all these different parts of the world?
And would that normally have been a physical meeting, and that you've had to change to virtual?
Yeah, in fact, my first few days at the company, so I've been here almost exactly a year now, I went down to Orlando this time of year and we had a large meeting down there, thousands of people at Disney World. And that meeting, of course, is not going to happen this time around. And we're moving it back to September, and we're going to be able to do it virtually. And while you certainly lose some parts and aspects when you do it virtually, I think we're actually quite excited about some of the benefits that we can also bring as well. And we're actually able to bring in more people this way too. So we'll bring in more of a corporate audience and we'll bring in more store level employees to be able to participate.
Yeah, that's what we're finding at PR Week. I think when we do go back to physical events, we will still have virtual aspects to it, because it has, like you say, you can open it up to more people, you can do some interesting things, and and get speakers that might not have been able to appear in person, but they can appear virtually. So yeah, that's definitely true. Talk a bit about the communications team, how that's been functioning, how you've been managing remotely, and especially in things like helping the CEO, with various parts of that job in the regular part of being a communicator.
Yeah, in fact, one of the reasons I took the job is that I saw very immediately how important communications was taken here at Walgreens Boots Alliance. I interviewed with the entire executive suite. I, of course, interviewed with the CEO. And what he brought across to me is that he valued communications, no question about it. But I've been very pleased since I've come in the door that every major decision that we made, of course, including around the COVID crisis, we've been able to have a seat at the table. And I talk to the CEO very frequently. And the additional challenge, of course, is to make sure that he is seen across the company at a time where employees are frankly feeling a bit more uneasy. So you have to be able to bring across that confidence from him as well as all of the other executives. So we've been doing even more internal communications, and we've been setting up virtual roundtables with him, taking questions, and making sure that his voice is being heard. And that, of course, trickles across the rest of the company.
Yeah, and then talk about the team. Again, they're probably spread around the world too. Has it been easier? It probably hasn't been easier, but what surprised you the most, and what has been the best and worst thing about that?
Well, it's interesting because I took this job after being head of communications at Hilton, and I saw many of the same challenges that we had when I first joined the company there. It was a very siloed organization because we came together mainly through merger and acquisition. So if you look at Walgreens, Boots, Alliance, those three parts alone, Alliance being the wholesale section, Boots being, as you've already mentioned, on the European side, are retail, and then over here, the Walgreens side, of course, with over 9,500 stores. And all of those aspects needed to be talking much more frequently, not only on the micro level for the communications team, because they were more used to operating on their own, but we also had to project to all of our stakeholders the benefits of why the company came together in the first place. So I came in and for the first time organized a global leadership team that had never happened before. And we meet now weekly. We kicked everything off with a meeting in London. We put together for the first time a global communications plan. And now we never develop any major project in isolation. We benefit from being able to get all of our best minds together and then bring that out to the rest of the company. And then, of course, at the macro level, we hope we're doing that as well. We hope that we're bringing across why we have such a large scale and how that benefits ultimately our patients and customers.
So tell us a bit to finish up about the future. Everyone wants to know when we're going to come out of this. I know you probably haven't got the magic answer to that, but how do you see it panning out? How do you see a full return to work? And how do you see the world beyond COVID-19? Is it going to change the way you structure your team? Are you going to have more people working from home? Obviously the in-office environment is going to be very different. And then what about the consumer part of it?
Yeah, no, I think that there are certainly some parts of this that are here to stay and things that are working quite well. For example, if you look at the patient and customer angle, being able to access us wherever they want to meet us in terms of the omni-channel environment, whether that's online and ordering services to be able to arrive at your doorstep or coming in and having curbside delivery, we're not going to get rid of some of those aspects. And then over on the communications team side, I'm very proud of the team where I haven't seen that we've missed a beat, where people are still very much engaged. And we've been able to see at a time where we've ramped down our marketing budgets in the last several months, we've increased communications significantly, and we've never had better reputation scores across the board. So that to me says, regardless of where they're working, we're doing something right. And so I've always been very flexible when it comes to that. I want to make sure that the team feels like they're safe and comfortable. But as long as the work's getting done, it really doesn't matter where they're all at.
Yeah, I think we've all learned a lot about working from home and virtually. And it's good to see communications budgets going up instead of marketing budgets for a change. Nobody would have wanted it to happen in circumstances like this, but yeah, you're right. It has proven how important communications is. It's crucial to leadership, and it's crucial to brands and how they're communicating with their stakeholders. So continued good luck with that, Aaron. Our best to all of your people working on the front lines. We really appreciate what they're doing, and thanks so much for joining us on Coffee Break.
Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate it. Take care now.